Today I'm deciding to do a little bit of a different video. I'm gonna develop my rows and I'm gonna have a chat with you. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to make that happen. First, because I can't really concentrate on time and other things, but let's try to do that. Let's see what's gonna happen. I have some things on my mind that I wanna chat with you, but first I have to start putting the chemicals in here. I'm using Ilfotech HC. I use this for 2 years now and I really like it. I usually develop just HP5 or Tri-X and I like how this works for them. But some other people, they do different stuff. But let's start here. This is not, I'm not gonna teach you how to develop. I'm just gonna have a chat with you while I develop my rows, okay? So I just need to start that timer here. This is probably going to be harder than I imagined because I have to chat and look at a timer. Well, let's see what's going to happen here. So some people, they are commenting in some of my videos that sometimes they feel like they live in places that are very quiet. They live in places that they feel like they couldn't really create work or do any type of street photography. But I don't know if I fully agree with that. You know, I feel like everywhere you can find something special or different to work with it. This is really hard to speak, look at a timer and shake this. I must be really stupid. But I was like, okay, why not try it, you know? So yeah. People are commenting and they are like, look, I live in this really country place in South America and I can't really produce work sometimes because I feel like I live in this village. It's really hard to make work. There aren't many people. I'm not in a city like New York or London. And I get that because like I'm not in a city like New York or London. I'm in a very in the suburbs now. Before I was in Dublin and I could see the difference. 1 second. And one thing that came to my mind when I was listening to those people, it was like, I get it, you are in this village, there is nothing happening, but you might be looking at work online you might be looking at work that's just made in those main cities. You might be looking at work coming from New York, coming from London. And if you're not seeing work being made on your city, you might have a big opportunity there because that means that not many people are producing that work there. So there is something to create, there is something to make there. You don't really always have to be like, I want to copy those guys from New York, I want to make the same style, because they live in a total different place. There are people that they always made work. I feel like if you like photography, if you like what you do, you're always going to produce work no matter where you are. And I understand it is difficult because I feel like even for me here, it's been quite difficult. I haven't found how am I going to create this work yet. And I do want to photograph in my neighbor. I don't want to be going to the city, to the town, no, to the city center. I live in the city, but I don't want to go to the city center all the time. I want to photograph around here because I feel like Belfast has so much history. So many things happen here, it's so political, and this really interests me. And there are people alive that they were part of those problems, that they were part of what was happening here. So there is a lot of history happening here still. And I want to document that. I want to show that. It might be different. It might look a little bit different than what a person in London will be making, what a person in New York will be making, but I'm making my own work. I don't really care, and I don't think people should really care if you're not doing their work like a New Yorker. You're not in New York, like you're not in those places, like you are at your city, and I get it. It's hard sometimes to look at our cities with a good eye. So I come from São Paulo city, but I moved away from São Paulo more than 12 years ago. I've been living in Ireland for a long time. And when I moved from there, when I came to Europe first, I was really amazed by everything. Everything was beautiful. Every new building that I was seeing, every little street, even like having a pint of Guinness, I was like, wow, that's cool, that's amazing, because it was so different to my reality that it was something really cool to see, to be around. And I get it that now here for me is starting to feel like here's my home. I've been here for so long. I'm so like close to the culture here now. I'm married to an Irish woman. So it's like you learn so much about the place and their culture that it feels very home now, and it can't feel boring. So I'm getting lost here. Again, it is hard to, I have a timer here. I'm shaking that thing and I'm talking to you. I had a comment. This guy, he messaged, and then I don't think he knew I'm Brazilian because I do YouTube in English. And then he was like, look, I'm in São Paulo city. São Paulo is a massive city, but it's not as busy as people think. It's not as like New York or London. You have like different parts that are not as busy. And I get it. São Paulo is massive. We do have city center, which is very populated, is very busy. It's one of the biggest cities in the world. You know, it's bigger than Ireland, like. And the countryside sometimes can be very quiet, and I understand that. But it's funny listening this guy saying that, because I was in Brazil just 4 months ago. I was there for 4 months, and that was my first time there thinking as a photographer with my cameras and trying to produce work. And it was absolutely beautiful. I enjoyed that place so much. I felt like I wish I could leave there a little longer now and like maybe come back, spend a year there, create a project there. There's so much that I want to show about my country. There is so many things that now get my attention. But maybe I felt like this because I create a big distance from me and Brazil. It's been like so long that I'm not there that now I look at the place with maybe a foreigner's eye, someone that is like far away from that place. So it just made my head was like, how come this guy is from São Paulo city, one of the biggest city in the world, and he was saying that he can't create work there. If you're watching this, I'm not giving you shit. Do you know, my point here is just like sometimes we don't really appreciate where we are, and maybe we should. Do you know? I know it's hard to like create the magic to romanticize our places, but I think sometimes it's important. I've been trying to go for walks. Today I went out with my cameras and even like trying different focal lengths. Today I had my Minolta with me and I have a 135mm that I never use. Never really use that lens. And I was like, I'll bring that camera with me and I'll try to see it differently. And funny thing, I never take pictures of birds or plants or bees or whatever. I was taking pictures of birds. Do you know those really boring pictures? I was taking those pictures just because I had like such a long focal length. So I think sometimes if you're really bored, you could try something different. Try to walk somewhere different. Try to maybe use a different focal length. Maybe use a different camera. Maybe even like create an assignment for you. You know, you can just go outside and be like, today I'm gonna focus on some type of color if you shoot color, or I'm gonna focus on creating, my hat's not working, creating a composition that is a little bit farther than my usual, because that's what I'm doing here. One, like the things that I'm doing here, I can't really get too close to a person in front of their own house. Is their neighbor, like I don't want to be rude, and it's very quiet. It's not like that you're gonna have people outside all the time. So I'm trying to create to have a step back from my subjects and see what I can create. And I'm also approaching people. I'm talking to people and creating portraits. It is different than what I usually do, but if I want to make work here, I have to understand the place and work with what the place gives to me, not what I really want sometimes. And I don't want to be rude to those people. I live here, I live in this neighbor. I don't want to like be the rude guy that comes out with a camera all the time. And it's a small place, people know who you are. So like just try to see your place where you are with different eyes. You don't always have to look with what Instagram is telling you or think that it's just like what is on Instagram is cool. I'm sure you can produce work in your place. I'm sure there are a lot of people doing that. they might be not like so popular online. They might not be so popular on Instagram. And I think, again, I had a talk with you about that on my last talk it through, that sometimes you don't really see what we want. Actually, it was a vlog. So I have to stop this. I was developing this for 9.5 minutes. So this is not a tutorial. I'm not trying to teach you how to develop. I'm just gonna give you some information in case you are interested on it, right? So first I developed that. Now I'm gonna rinse that, and I'm gonna use a stop to make it stop developing. But I also have to develop some other rows. So I'm just washing a little bit of developer out now, and then I'm gonna use the stop in a second. But before I use that, I have to put this on the other one because I'll need this to put actually, I might not need that. I have it ready here, and I think it's the perfect size. Again, maybe those videos are gonna be really confused, but I had this idea today. I was like, why do you not just talk to my camera while I'm developing and see if people watch, see if people are interested? I never really see people doing that, and maybe it's because it's hard. Maybe that's why they don't do that. It's also really hard to like be talking here for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I don't have a script. I have some topics in my head or some things that I've been thinking about it, and I talk about them. The way that I create my contents, the way that I make my videos, I don't really like scripting a lot of things. Sometimes I do, sometimes I have something more structure, but I think I work better being natural. I work better being myself, and I do praise that a lot in photography or in the videos. I think you should be yourself online and should create what you want to create. We have a lot of influences, maybe me, even me here, I'm trying to influence you to change or to do something different. That's not my goal really. This is a diary for me, and I just want to tell you what helps me, and I might help someone. That's my idea. If this is good for someone, this is great. If it isn't really good, I'm sorry, you lost a lot of time of your life watching me. So yeah, now I'm gonna put a stop in here. Stop should be just like really quick. This stop, I don't know where is it from. Usually I use everything from Ilford. I really like their things, it works. So I don't really need to be changing that. I usually put a stop there, and then I leave it there for literally like 10 seconds. I don't really count much. I give it a few shakes, and that's the stop done. Developing is fairly easy if you do black and white. I don't really understand why some black and white photographers don't develop their own film. I know it takes a lot of time and sometimes people are really busy, but I think it's nice to understand every process when you're shooting film. I think that's one of the important things. One of my dreams one day is to have a proper darkroom on my kitchen and print. I think if you shoot film, you should be focusing on printing, because so far I just developed those rows. I do a digital scan and then I use them online, but I don't think that's why film is made for. Film's made to be printed. That's why you should shoot film. Well, at the moment I cannot afford to have a darkroom. It is really expensive. I always see some of my friends, they are like printing their stuff, and it is amazing. It's a different type of like magic, because you can create your photograph the way that you want. Another thing that I hope, because I'm leaving this water running for a long time, I hope this is not going to bother you on the background. But yeah, going a little back to the topic, I was watching a friend of mine, Nick, talking about that. I think that his last 2 videos were great, and we also had a call this week, which was really nice. Sometimes we try to copy influencers. We try to copy YouTubers and be like, look, this guy do this, and I want to do that too. But you're not the same person. You don't have to do the same thing as someone else is saying. Like literally, sorry Nick, I'm not copying your video here. It's just like you made me think of that. You don't, it's not because this influencer photographer is doing that, or because you heard a YouTuber telling you, look, do this, do that you should be doing. The best part of creating stuff is to be yourself. Like, that's why I photograph, because I want to show what I want to show. It is a very particular thing, it's a very personal thing. And if there are people telling me you should do this, you should do that, I don't want to listen to that. Of course, like, I'm not saying if you have a friend and you're like on a critique, or if you're having a conversation about a photograph and they're helping you. What I'm telling you is like, I don't want to have a YouTuber or anyone telling me online, that's how you should film, that's how street photography should be. No, like, fuck it. Like, if you want to shoot, you shoot whatever. Another topic that I see online that I find boring as fuck, it's like people are always discussing about like film photography or digital photography. I mainly shoot film. Lately I've been shooting some digital because I'm trying to get work, I'm trying to create a portfolio, and when I shoot film I shoot color. So when I shoot film I shoot black and white, so I need to have color to put on my portfolio. And it doesn't really matter what you shoot, you know. I feel like I'm getting really lost here. Point is, doesn't matter. Doesn't, like, if you shoot film, if you shoot color, create your own work. That's what I'm trying to say here. That's what I'm trying to show to you. Okay, so now that I'm finishing to take all this stuff outside of that thing, we're gonna use a fixer. That's a new Ford fixer. I use this for a long time as well. Usually leave it for 3 to 5 minutes, depends how old your fixer is. I think I'm gonna leave this for 5 minutes today, just because I don't really remember how old this fixer is. And when it comes to creating photography, I think you should show your personality at your work. You should always try to search for what you want to speak, because I'm a tattooer. I come from my whole life I tattoo, and that's one of my interests. And it's funny enough, because I'm a tattooer, I find really boring to photograph this modern tattoo people, those heavily tattooed guys. They're like young and they have all those beautiful tattoos, because nowadays everyone have good tattoos, so fuck that. But I really enjoy photographing those old guys with those tattoos. They're like 50 years old. I think it was a different time. They were a different breed. They got those tattoos because they were rough, they were strong. And nowadays, like, everybody has tattoos. It's like having a face tattoo or whatever doesn't mean anything. Back then, when I was a child, it meant something. So I think that's why sometimes I'm so like, I want to photograph those people. If I see like an old guy with some old tattoos, most of the time I will approach them. If I see some tattoos that mean something different that I know, like even here in Belfast, there are a lot of political tattoos. When I see them, I stop people. I'm like, hey, can I take a photo of that? And usually people are friendly. Usually it's nice. So that's something that's close to me, and I try to put on my work. And I think it's like, if you have something that's close to you, try to add to your work as well. Okay, so now I'm gonna develop, I have another 2 rows here. I'm gonna start this. This is a different timing than the first one. So this should be 8 minutes, because this is Kodak Tri-X 400. A lot of my film, I push them to 800 because I do like a little bit of contrast. This is tight. Okay, so at the start, I usually shake this for 30 seconds. And then after that, I shake this every minute. Another thing that I wanted to talk with you, I don't know if you watched my last video. My last video is about photojournalism. Photojournalism is something that I'm really passionate about it. I wanted to do photojournalism for a long time, but it is really hard to get into photojournalism. It's not something so simple. I'm not working with that yet. I'm trying to work with it, and it seems to be impossible. Just give me a second. I need to think here because I need to do some maths. It's very simple maths. It's just minutes, but because I'm dumb, I can't really do it and talk. So maybe this 2 minutes and a half. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, this might be a bad idea, but whatever. We are rolling. So yeah, I went outside and I saw Easter commemorations here in Belfast. Easter has a very big meaning because they usually commemorate the Easter rising, and I explained all of that on my old video. I might put it here on top so you guys can just go and watch that after. And I took those photographs and I had to send to a lot of news. And it was very weird because if you don't know the history about Belfast, they had a lot of troubles here and the place is divided. Nowadays it's a little bit more modern, so it's not like fully divided, but you still have a lot of history, a lot of emotions, and there is a big division on things. And some news, they tend to be in one side, some news tend to be on another side. And they will use your photograph and talk about those people in a very bad way. And I don't know how I feel about that. I do want to work with news, but I feel really bad on taking photo of something that I believe on it and giving to the enemy. Let's say like that. You know, don't know if I'm wording this correctly. And it's just really weird. You know, I don't know how I feel about it. But I sent it anyway. Shame on me. But I just sent that because I need to start work. I have no option rather than like contacting those people. So that's why I sent that. But it just made me think a lot about ethics in photojournalism. I feel like a very good photojournalist, I'm sorry if you're a photojournalist, please let me know in the comments. I'm not trying to be rude here or create a weird discussion or give hate to anyone. It's just me thinking, again, all of those talks, they're really raw. It's just me thinking about what I think about some topics, but it doesn't mean that that's me fully done. That's all I think. I like changing opinions. So change my opinion if you are in the comments, if you are a photojournalist. But I just felt like to be a photojournalist, you have to be really ruthless sometimes. Sometimes something really horrible gonna be happening in front of you. That didn't happen to me, but that's what I imagine sometimes. If you're in a really horrible situation, do you take the photograph or you help? A lot of people would say like they take the photograph and they help after. And I get that, that's their work. And my conclusion for now is a good photojournalist, they have to be very ruthless to make the work. And not that they don't care, I'm sure they care. I'm sure everyone has emotions, everyone has their things. But they have to prioritize their job. They have to prioritize their photography. And that really bothers my head because it's a type of job that seems to be a dream job sometimes if you're busy, if you're like publishing your photographs. That's a dream of me. If I can't publish one photograph, that would be amazing for a start, you know. On the news, I had work before that were published in other places, but I meant like on the papers. But that ruthlessness, I don't know what I think about it. If I would have the balls to not help and shoot first, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know what he thinks. Even in street photography, you're gonna have a lot of different people. You're gonna have people that, like, if there is something really horrible happening, they will fire their camera and they don't care. They're there for the photograph. And I don't judge them. You know, I just don't know where I personally stand on that. I'm not that person. I like to believe that I will help first, and then if I can, I take a photograph. But a lot of the times, like, if you see someone on the floor or something happening, I did take photographs like that before, but I don't know if it's something that I do it now. Okay, that's 1 second again. I just need to put that fixer inside of that thing here now. So basically, those 3 rows here, they are developed. I already did most things. So now I need to put this under the water and give it a wash for 10 minutes. So you might listen to a little bit of the water. But yeah, I don't know what I think about those things. It's just something that I've been thinking a lot. I think, 1 second. Man, I don't know what people are gonna find as, like, again, if you're watching this whole thing, that's me so far, 26 minutes talking. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. People that stay to the end are really important. I'm trying to make a community here of people that are active people that think about photography, people that want to talk about the topic, because I love that. That's on my heart. That's something that I want to talk all the time about it, and I want to have more friends that talk about it. So if you're still here, like, go and DM me, talk to me. I need to make more photographer friends, because that's one of the biggest goals. Okay, we are finishing the second row here now, and then basically after I finish developing this, I just have another 20 seconds. I do the same thing. I will stop, I'll put a fixer on it, and then I'm gonna put it to dry. So I have 10 seconds here. I'm gonna stop that. I don't reuse this developer. It's like, I usually just reuse if I'm using on the same day, but because I already finished, I don't really reuse it. But I think that'll be the video for today. I don't have anything else to talk. I've never talked so much by myself in my life. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Take photos every day. Thanks for watching.